This is the monthly discussion of Muslims in research and academics. And for this month, we'll be talking about fundamental etiquette of academic writing, which would be discussed by Dr. Sharafaddin Adeniji. Dr. Sharafaddin Adeniji is a recent PhD graduate from the African University of Science and Technology in Abuja, and is also a lecturer at the Faculty of Natural and Applied Science, now University of Nigeria, Abuja. Welcome, Dr. Sharafaddin, and you have the floor. Let me just change the settings so that you can share.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen.
Okay.
I still can't.
Okay, let me stop mine.
Okay, I think that's the reason.
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Oh.
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Sharafaddin Adeniji, as I was introduced by the convener of this program. So tonight I'll be talking about the fundamental etiquette of academic writing. This is a very important topic, just like the other ones we have been having on this platform. I'm sure this one cut across every aspect of any program you're doing, whether you're undergraduate, you're a graduate student, even as scholars, the PhD holders, postdoc guys, and all of us are into this. So either you publish or you perish. So I'm very happy to be part of this. And in the next 30-40 minutes, we'll be looking at this together. I want it to be interactive, so please feel free to contribute, maybe after the program. After my presentation, rather. So this is the outline of my speech. I'll be talking about all this one after the other. Maybe I should start by appreciating the convener and our team for giving me the opportunity to interact with the group through this topic. So we start with the meaning of academic writing. And I put here that it's a process by which scholars share their research findings with other scholars, and it is written in accordance with certain rules. There are some standard rules by which you write, do academic writing. So there are a lot of way people write. So we have newspaper, we have poem and all that. Some other informal writings that we have. So academic writing is formal, it is objective and technical. So when we say formal, we mean you avoid making use some colloquials, some non-formal language or vocabulary. It is also objective because you have to focus on the idea. You have to avoid, directing your writings to individual or feelings. So you have to be specific, focus on the main idea, the objective, the facts from your work. It's also technical because you need to be familiar with the technical words, the key words in your area. So these are the things that make a technical writing to be human. So there are no informal language, even contraction is not allowed. You don't use don't, rather you say do not, and so on. And it is technical, like I said. So you have to be familiar with the keywords, the jargons in your area of discipline. And then when you have all this, you'll be having, or you'll be writing, you'll be an academic writer when you have these qualities. When your writing is formal, it is objective and technical, then you are writing, you're having an academic writing. So we may be interested in knowing the purpose of academic writing. Why do we go into academic writing? So I listed few of them here. For instance, to report on a piece of research that a scholar or student has conducted. So as students, the lecturer, your supervisor can give you some mini projects, which you later write report on. You see final year student doing the undergraduates, they also write project and defend it. So you write a report on it. We also do this to discuss a topic of common interest and give your own view or discovery. So when you publish a paper, you have only shown what you have added to the body of knowledge. What is your discovery? What is the gap? So you have added to the body of knowledge in this case. We also used to collate research done by other scholars. By way of literature review, when you go through a review, you see that the scholar, the writer has put together the relevant work by other researchers to show the progress, the challenges, the updates about that particular field. So I listed a few here, and so that it will be interactive, I also want some of the participants to tell me more. Can you identify more reasons why we write, why we publish or why we write academically? Please just unmute yourself, and if you want to give us more reasons why the purpose of academic writing, what are the purpose of academic writing? That's where we are. So do you want to add to what I've put here? Do you have any more reason? Yeah, because all of us are involved in anybody in the university has one thing or the other to do with this, even those in the research institute. So if you are as undergraduate students, you need to write, at least you write your final project. As graduate students, you go for you do your thesis, you attend some seminars, some workshop or conferences. So you have to present paper. And even as scholars, so every time from time to time as professor, you want to add more to your profile, you publish from time to time. So even SOP that you write to get scholarship, to get admission abroad, statement of purpose, is an academic writing. It's not just an informal writing. So these are various purposes of academic writing. So I listed here some of the prerequisites, for learning academic writing. It's an habit, it's something that we have to develop, because academic writing is regarded, you have to have the basis and then grow to that level where you can write at that level. So the first thing I listed here, as a beginner, you need to engage in free writing. Please, can you hear my slide?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, you're so cold, like, okay. Thank you. All right, so to engage in free writing, just pick any topic. I think when we were in high school, secondary school, we were training. We didn't know this was what they were preparing us for. Just give me your arbitrary topics, your best friend, your best food, and all that. So you can just engage, force yourself, to be writing, to develop that habit, of writing, and then it will help you a lot. And then after that, you need to graduate to the level where you read a lot of articles in your area of research. So for someone to be, for any aspiring writer, this is very important. You need to read widely so that you know what is going on in your area, you know the challenges, you know the prospects, you know the level you are, the work is in your area. And then you need to cultivate habit of writing. As you read, you need to jot something down. It's part of academic writing. You need to have a jotter, a very good jotter, where you identify, you need to put down the topic, for instance, and then other important things. One of the challenges we're facing now, even in classes, you see students find it difficult to read. They believe they are recording or they are just listening. Recently, I was interacting with a student. He just attended my online class and came to my office for office hour. So I was asking, what did you put down during the class? And he was like, no, I was just listening. I was listening. He was listening to a physics class. They're not putting anything down. And that's not good at all. So for you to be a very good writer, you need to read. At the same time, you need to know how to write important things down. Then beyond that, you need to think critically. This critical thinking is very important, and this is a part where you think, you inspect what you have written down, you inspect them closely, and then reflect on them. So this way you can pick gap. What are the other areas? What are the other ways by which we can look at this? So that critical thinking is very important. So you think about it, reflect on what you have put down, what you have read from, to develop your own topic, for instance, or to see gap in that your area, so that you can fill in the gap, and that will be your own contribution. You also need to develop research skills. By this, you need to know, how do you source for materials? How do you source for information in terms of journal articles? Do you want to use Google Scholars? Have you even signed up for that? Are you in research on ResearchGate? Do you have collaborators? It's not only reading and writing. Do you have some collaborators, both home and abroad, so that when you need some materials or you want to carry out some experiments, some characterization, like we in documents here, but if you have someone abroad, a friend abroad, it can help you out in getting a particular paper, which it might not be free, so you can download it and get it. So you develop the research skills. So it's not only by reading and writing, collaboration, reaching out to other people, knowing the important tools, important gathering you should be, even in terms of attending conferences. And when you attend, what do you gain? What do you try to focus on? Then learn language of your discipline. So this has to do with the reading that we talked about before. So the best way to learn language of your discipline is to read what the other researchers in that area have written. And then you'll be able to see what is their focus, even in terms of methodology. What are the best methods? What are the approved methods that you can use to carry out your research? And then you won't be returned to or rejected. So these are the prerequisites for learning. If you can put all this together, then you'll be a good writer. I also have here the types of, say, research paper. It can be a book. I was asked to recently, which that was last year, and they are published this year. So it could be chapters, it could be a whole book. So it's part of academic writing. You have literature review. I'm not talking of the one inside your paper. When you have a review where you collate all the efforts of other researchers, including, if you're also part of it, you collate all the previous effort together to show the progress, like I said, the challenges and the gap so far, so that both you and other researchers or students that are coming in, they will know the level things are and where they can come in. So we can also have project reports, proposals, statement of purpose, then dissertation or thesis, and then case studies. So I don't want to waste time. I'm sure we understand all this. So these are just different types of academic writing. You can also add to the list. I'm sure I may be missing one thing or the other. So I also want, again, I'm a teacher, so I want it to be interactive. And then, so with that, I've brought this exercise where, so here we say match the term on the first column to the definition given in the second column. So number one has been done. So we have the names here and their definition. So one is to see, where note means a written record of the main points of a text. or lecture for a student personal use. So I want you people to respond. So report, which one goes for reports? Which is number 2. So please look at this table and tell me which of them goes for, is it E, is it B, A, F, and so. So I'm waiting for your response. Hello.
Sounds like E to me.
The most
Yes.
common type, yes.
What about projects? Number
Project.
3 is what? Which one is it among the letters?
Project.
D.
No, it's not D.
It's A.
It's not D. That should be A, yes.
Yeah.
A. That should be A. Okay. So SA, that's number 4. Number 4 is what? Is that one is even, there's a clue, direct clue there. That's what, right? D, right?
D, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so what about number 5? Dissertation or thesis?
That's B.
That's B, thank you. Then the paper.
Yeah, that's
Paper is F.
It's A.
Paper is F.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I'm happy, at least I was able to hear your voice. That's just the my goal of doing this. And then we're able to see how you are following. All right. So let's now look at, so I've seen the various academic report that we can have. So how do we plan for it? So there are 2 major approaches, and one of them is called planning approach. The other one is drafting approach. A lot of time, in planning. For instance, you want to write a paper, which is what the way I was trained actually. So if you want to write a paper, we'll have a topic in mind. So with that topic, we then form an outline in terms of our introduction. What are the things that we expect under the introduction? You write them out. Under the methodology, what are the things that you expect? Under the, then you discuss them, result and discussion and all that. So this will help you you spend a lot of time fine-tuning this between you and your professor, for instance, if you are still the co-supervisor, maybe the postdoc that work directly with you. So you spend a lot of time. So this is one way, planning first before you start executing, before you start writing or even carrying out any experiment whatsoever. And so when you are able to do this, you'll be able to have a clear understanding of the content of each paragraph that you're going to have within your paper. Then you can take them one after the other. So that's the first approach. The second approach has to do with early. So as you are starting, as you are thinking about the idea, as you are developing the idea, you start writing, even though you are still developing the idea. So the only implication of this is that you have to write and write. You have to, a lot of drafts, and later you arrange it, put them together, reorganize them in a way that your idea will be clear and then your paragraph will be well structured. So this one, you are not having any skeleton or any outline of the work. You are just doing it and, writing randomly like that. But you keep changing it, you keep, adjusting it until you get something that is, presentable. So both of these approaches can be successful, but one is, easier than other. For instance, the planning approach is very, very good because you will not even waste effort. You will see you have taken your time to plan it very well on how things will go. And even if things go the other way around, you can see how to also, maybe you even plan, you have plan B, I mean, as part of the plan. So the planning is very important. And when you do that, your writing will be, clear, will be logical and analytical, and you have less problem in terms of maybe publishing it. So that's planning approach is what I'm used to is what my professor, used to train us. So I gave an example here. One of my, I don't know, can you see this clearly? So one of my works is this. So the title is Monotonic and Cyclic Bending Failure of Flexible Perovskite Light Emitting Devices. So I know that I'll have a list of authors, the affiliations, abstracts, keywords. These are the beginning. I've not been doing anything, while I was writing this. I just know that the paper should have all this. And then the most important thing, the first one is the introduction. What do I want under my introduction? I need to review, perovskite LED generally, talking about the importance, the applications, and the challenges. And then other things, I don't want to waste time, but you see that under my introduction, I have like four bullet points there. So each of these will have not less than maybe 3-4 paragraphs. For instance, your introduction is supposed to take like 10 to 20% of the whole paper. So you have all these to give a very good background of your work, up to where you talk about the unresolved, issues, and then your aim and objective. So you have it like this. And then like this, we have theory, like a kind of analytical model we want to use. So what do I also want under that? So I listed about 4 other things I also do there. Parts and the modeling parts. So I have an idea of what I'll be doing. And then under result and discussion, I also have what are the things I'm expecting to discuss. And then maybe an hypothesis of what I think will happen. And so I can then discuss up to the implications and conclusion. So this is what I mean by planning. So when you have this on daily basis or on weekly basis, you can be supplying something, you are progressing. Maybe you're starting with your introduction, and then what part of it have you achieved today or this week? Let's say, like for us, we do meeting every day. We have research meeting, every week. So you have presented something last week. What is the new thing you're going to present next week based on your, but you do this with your supervisor. And even if you are working alone now, you should be disciplined enough to follow what you have planned so that you can achieve. So this is what I mean by planning. So this first approach that I'm talking about. So most people use this. It may not be this exact way, but at least you have some drafts of what you intend to do, and then you can follow it up. I hope this part is clear to everyone.
Yes.
So to achieve that, to achieve all those things, thank you. So you also need to, maybe you need to make a task list. What do you have? How can you achieve all this? Because this is not enough to have. How will you achieve it? So it's not enough to write them. How do you achieve them? So you need to determine, how do you get materials, information, maybe a library database search or catalog search to find relevant journal articles or books. So it depends on where you are doing your program, if your school subscribe to different journals and all that, or do you want to rely on Google Scholar? There are a lot of free book journals you can download there. ResearchGate is there. Even if the researcher, the author has not uploaded, you can request for it and all that. So, and like we said earlier, you need to read and do some note taking, and that will help you, we said, to know the previous work, to master your the technical languages in your area, and then you brainstorm that critical thinking that I said earlier, where you try to bring out gap, even where you're analyzing it to try to bring out what is the gap, so that you can distinguish your own work from what people have done earlier. Then the drafting can start. Discussion, you discuss with your colleagues, your team members, and then you can do the editing and proofreading till you get it right and you have a complete, manuscript. So to achieve this, I suggested that we should have a Gantt chart, so which you can use to estimate the time that will be, the time you want to use to achieve each gap, each step. For instance, you want to say, okay, you want to achieve all this in 4 months, for instance. and you are saying maybe each month I must be able to finish each of these. I must be able to complete my introduction while I'm doing some other maybe experiment along the line. And then the following 2 weeks, I should be able to do this. The next 3 weeks, I should be able to do this and that. So you need to, even if you will not achieve it, you need to have a working document, which you work as much as possible. You can even beat the time, but at least if you don't beat it, you at least meet up with the exact time. And if there is also some hindrances, you just add 2 or 3 weeks, and then you'll be able to achieve your aim. But if you don't plan, that's why they say people commit suicide while carrying out research, maybe especially as PhD students. So people, I've seen someone that stayed 10 years and they could not graduate after 10 years. And there are many people like that. People spend 8 years. And if you check, part of the challenge, I'm not saying it's the only problem. This might be part of the challenge, planning their time effectively. And then another important thing is now how to structure your academic writing. So actually where you want to publish, or your department, your discipline, will dictate the way you write actually. But whichever way you are following, your writing will be logical if it is easy to see the structure as well as how they fit together. So you can achieve this in different ways. For instance, at the end of your introduction, you can show the structure. Like, oh, after this introduction, the next session talks about the literature review. The next one talks about the methodology, and then I'll discuss my findings, and then I'll conclude. So you can give the readers, an idea of what they're about to, go through, or the way you have written your paper. You should also use headings and subheadings to clearly mark the sections, like I did here. You can see headings and subheadings. So I have introduction as a main heading, and then you have subheadings based on the other topics that I wrote there. So use headings and subheadings to clearly mark the sections. Each of your paragraph, if possible, use a topic sentence at the beginning. This is not a must. The topic sentence could come at the middle or else, but in most cases, it's good that it comes. That's the main idea of the paragraph. What does the paragraph talk about? So each paragraph is like an essay on its own that is answering a particular question. So each paragraph answers a particular question. And then so you should start with that idea. What is the main idea that the paragraph is presenting? And then show connection between sentences. You should remember that you are not just writing to show your writing prowess. Rather, you are trying to convince your readers, your reviewers, about what you have found out, your contribution to the body of knowledge. So you should also use conjunction and between the idea. So like you have all these words like however, moreover, in addition, as a result of this. So you bring in all those linking words to show so that your work will be, or your writing will be coherent and will be very nice to read. Okay. So anyway, whatever you are writing, some things are very important. So we have the introductory paragraph, we have the body paragraph, and the concluding paragraph. So we can generalize all our writing into this: the introductory paragraph, the body paragraph, and the concluding paragraph. So within the body paragraph is where you have your literature review, you have your methodology, result and discussion. Then, so what is the purpose of introduction? So it is there to clearly inform or to tell your readers about the topic. Your introduction should be able to tell the readers about the topic, the purpose, and the structure of the paper. So it contains mainly 3 important parts. So the first one, the first part of the introduction should be most general information, like the background or definition that are relevant to the topic. And then you have the main part of the introduction where you present the topic, the purpose, point of view, and some hypothesis or research question, if that is applicable to your research or to your discipline. And then you can also have the last part of it where you talk about the structure of the work. In terms of paragraphs now, so every other thing will also be in terms of paragraphs. So each one should start with topic sentence, otherwise known as introductory sentence. And then you have the body of the paragraph that explain more, illustrate more, about the topic sentence. And usually you also have concluding sentence in each paragraph that show the connection between the main idea of the paragraph and what you have achieved, what you have shown. So I just gave a quick from a paragraph from one of my paper where I just used to identify the topic sentence, the body of the paragraph, and then the concluding sentence. So the topic sentence has to do with to study the effect of the monotonic loading on the failure mechanisms of the themes. So substrates and stretch to different strain levels. So we are trying to apply load on a PDMS substrate, where we have deposited some thin films. We want to see if it can withstand, the stress. And we carry out some tests, and then we got some results. We presented them. I can see the concluding remark where we present that, this implied that the structural integrity of the film is maintained, even with the presence of applied strain. I'm just using this to show how each paragraph, we have a topic sentence, I have a body of paragraph, and like a concluding sentence. Then in terms of conclusion now, here is the general conclusion. So your conclusion is closely related to your introduction, the introductory paragraph. In fact, they are referred to as mirror image of please summarizing the main scope of the structure. So you have a brief summary of the entire work, and then summary of the main findings also. And then you should show how this linked to the original question, if you have asked some questions earlier. And then you can also, within your conclusion, you can reference the limitation of your work, maybe in terms of geographical location or in terms of the scope. Like, okay, I'm working on energy, but I'm focusing on light emitting diode, not solar cell, for instance. So you should show the limitation of or I'm applying this approach, not the other one. Then you can also suggest the future, of possible research based on your own limitation, and then comment on the implications of your research. So what have you achieved? What have you contributed to the body of knowledge? And then you can end it with a more general statement about how this topic relates to the contents. So this is about the general concluding paragraphs. So I also use this to show an example from one of my works. I'm trying to save time, so that's why I'm trying to, because I have 22 slides. This is slide 17. Okay, so another aspect that is very important. Say it again, please. Do I still have time?
We have like 10 minutes, so.
Okay, I should be able to cover
yeah.
All right, so this is very important, your grammar, spelling, and vocabulary. Like I said, academic writing is regarded as high level, writing. So it is important you use correct grammar, spelling, and technical vocabulary in your academic writing. I've seen where reviewer will say, could you send this to a native speaker?
No. Oh.
When they realize there are a lot of errors in your work. So one of the things to read for you, to like edit for you. But today, nowadays, there are a lot of tools that you can use, like Grammarly and all that. But you should also know the basic grammatical rules. And then, so to achieve this, you need to be sure of the vocabulary that is suitable for whatever you are writing. You're not just there to impress. You just want to explain clearly and logically. So avoid using colloquial style, slang, non-standard diction, and conventional style in your writing. So diversify your sentences. Sometimes you use active, sometimes you use passive sentence and all that. So remove redundant expression and avoid wordy sentence, not just to impress that you can write very well, but just to explain, your fact, your findings. You're only trying to explain your findings, not to impress anyone, on how you can write very well. So don't waste words. Then maintain the tense. If you are writing in past tense, if you're supposed to use past tense, use it. If you're supposed to use present tense, use it. So you should know when to use them then the rule of Concord. These are simple things that if they are not written in very good English, that may be a problem. And then remove weak phrases and use strong verbs instead. Editing and proofreading. So when you have written your work, you don't just, so you have to edit it, you have to proofread. And what do you do when you do that? You are trying to remove or add some text to meet the word limit. So some journals will tell you the maximum words you have to, write for your abstracts or even the entire work. So you need to be sure. If you know this is where you want to publish your work, you should know their rules so that you can follow it. And then making your sentences clearer and more concise. These are part of what you do when you edit and proofread. You restructure your paragraphs. You may think that, oh, this should come before this, or this section should go before this. You can restructure your paragraphs or sections, and then make sure your idea flow logically. And that's one of the reasons where you may have to readjust, the paragraphs. Then make sure you have provided enough background information for your work. Then, so adding in subheadings or sentences to clearly signpost the structure. So this will help if you have planned very well, so you will not have problem with some of this, or you have little or no problem with this. Yeah. So very important point now, plagiarism. So this is regarded as a very big sin in academic. So plagiarism occurs when you use someone else's work as if it were your own. So it is regarded as academic dishonesty, and there is zero tolerance for it everywhere. In fact, if you are entering some universities, I'm sure in the Western world, you sign what they call honor code. So in that code, you are saying that you will not, even assignment alone. So if you are given assignment, just class assignment, not even writing journals now, just assignments. So you don't just see something online and copy it, copy and paste and send to your lecturer or your professor, as the case may be. So you need to avoid plagiarism on this platform, on the Mirror platform. So where a guy who has been given admission, a PhD admission in the US, was rejected effective September 1st. Hello, okay. Now, maybe the guy is even there already, because some of the guys we gave recommendation, they left early or late August. Most of them have left. Maybe he's in US already. Now they've canceled. This is the reason why he should be there. And now they've canceled it. So you have to go back, because the statement of purpose that you wrote, he copied it online and pasted for them. And they were interested in it based on that. They gave him, one of the reasons that they gave him admission. So I said we should avoid plagiarism. And the first step, in avoiding it is to be aware of
Dr. Sharafatin, you're on mute. I think you have to unmute yourself. Let me ask to, okay.
Hello.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm almost there. Okay. So we should avoid plagiarism. And we should develop writing skill and referencing knowledge. So with this, we'll be able to, paraphrase. When you paraphrase, you are presenting the author's idea in your own words. So there is no crime in using other people's work, but you have to present it in your own word, one. Number two, you have to reference it. You have to give them credits. So you have to reference the work properly. And then you can link the information you got from them to your own idea. Then the last thing here is actually referencing. So in order to avoid plagiarism, you need to acknowledge your sources through referencing. So there are different ones. So based on wherever you belong to, your discipline, most time I publish in American Institute of Physics, AIP, or there are many other ones, and some other ones. So especially when you use Mendeley, you can find many of them there. And so you have an example here, how to put reference a work that you have is to give credit to the source where you get information. So as concluding remark, there are a lot of things to say under this, so I just find a way to summarize as much as I could. So in my concluding remark, I said academic writing enables thought to be visible. Nobody will know you have any idea if you don't, write it, if you don't put it into writing. So you can develop it, it can be modified. So people can, modify what you have done to improve on the work, and they can be restricted. Perhaps you want to patent it and all that. So it also helps to develop new ideas. So when you write your work, so it helps the other researchers or students that want to continue the work, to generate new ideas. So we also need to develop reading habits. Without reading, we cannot know what is going on in our, discipline. So things like Google. So if you know about how to use viewers, you'll be able to see what
Dr. Sharp, I think
Maybe network problem.
yeah. Um, okay, Dr. Sharafadin probably has network problem, and I hope he would join us soon to finish up with this. But I just want to add one thing before he joins, and that before you can be a very good academic writer, you have to continuously practice. If you start writing today, your work might not be like very good or as you expect it to be. So it's when you continuously write, continuously try to publish, when you get response from reviewers and you edit and you practice, that's the only way your writing is going to be better. So Dr. Shafadin, you're back, so you can make your conclusion.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, it was my network. It's raining, so but I'm actually done. I'm on the last slide actually, apart from the. All right, so you need to Google. So viewers, Mendeley, Grammarly can help you, to become a good writer when you know how to use them. Then you also need to be familiar with some of the statistical tools, even at least one or two of them, which I listed some of them here to save time. So thank you very much for listening to this talk. Once again, I'm very grateful for giving me the opportunity to present this to the group. So that's all for now. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Dr. Shafat for honoring our invitation. And before we take questions, I just want to inform all the participants that this discussion would be uploaded on YouTube, so you can watch it anytime. The link to the Mirrors page is on the group chat, so you can subscribe and watch in case you want to listen again, and other videos which we've discussed are also uploaded on the YouTube page. So if you have any question, you can ask, but there's a question in the chat box. I don't know if you can see. Okay, several questions from one person. So because of time, if you would be able to answer all, fine. If it's just some of them, you can also answer that. And if there's any other person that wants to ask a question, please, you can raise your, just notify me so I can.
Okay, can I go ahead with this question on the chat section?
Yes, please.
Okay, please, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, I'm so sorry, my network seems to be unstable. All right, so the first question here says, what is the best way to establish collaboration with professors in similar discipline, perhaps outside one's institution? Well, the first thing is to leverage on your connection of your own professor. So if you're under a particular professor, perhaps he has friends both home and abroad. And if he has a very good working relationship with them, so you can use that. Since you are his own student, then you can use his, goodwill. You can bank, you can, take advantage of that. So your professor can connect to, you must have been to conferences, and some of them, maybe they school together. For instance, I have some guys, we school together, maybe during my first degree, during my master's, or during my PhDs. Some are abroad now. Some are in South Africa, some are in Western world. So I can reach out to them. So if I have a student, I can connect my student to them, using my own connection. That's number one way. Number two is to attend conferences. So when you attend conference and maybe you make presentation, and during the tea hours, the break session, you mingle with people, and that works for a lot of people. So these are ways. And then if you also, your own contribution too, when people are reading your work, through ResearchGate, you can connect to some people, they can attend to you. These are a few things that I just remember now. I hope that answers that part of the question.
Yes.
Hello, can I move to the second question?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yes,
You can.
we can hear you.
Okay. Then the second one here says, okay. One of the key objectives of academic writing is to fulfill a degree requirement. So there is a less effort from most undergraduate supervisors on
Network. And Dr. Sharafadin, your network is out. Okay. We'll wait for Dr. Sharafadin to connect back so he can answer the questions.
Hello, you want to read out the question, or I should go ahead with this one?
You can go ahead. We're waiting for you because of the network.
Okay, so sorry about that. All right. This question is long. So one of the key objectives of academic writing is to fulfill a degree requirement. So there is less effort from most undergraduate supervisors on rules and regulation on project thesis journal writing. How can one approach a supervisor that one wishes to publish his or her projects in a journal or a related conference as an undergraduate, perhaps before or after graduation, in order to boost chances of securing funding or scholarship for the next degree? Well, I think this is a matter of chance. I understand that some lecturers themselves are not well grounded in research. So if you find yourself in the hand of some of them, I don't know, it may be somehow challenging. But if it's someone that is actually, doing well as far as research is concerned, you will not have problem. You will even be the one to push you that you don't waste time with me. You have to publish. You have to do a very nice work, which will lead to publication. But if your supervisor is not someone that is, I know people that have PhD, but they hate writing. They hate, even I have someone when I was doing PhD, it was supposed to be one of my co-supervisors. If you send something to him, he won't reply until like 3 days. And after that 3 days, you think he has looked at what you sent. He's just acknowledging that, oh, I've received your, so, and all that. So I think that's just pray. But if you have chance to pick someone, so as you are getting to 300-400 level or 500 as the case may be, if you know those are publishing very, you can struggle to be a student of that person, and that will help you. And even apart from, you can collaborate with some other people. If you have good work, you can collaborate with some other people, whether within or outside your school, and publish your work. But you should try with your supervisor first. Our desktop publishing and data analysis consider key skills one must know as well before embarking on academic writing. Yes, you need to know about, you need to know how to use Word, PowerPoint, Excel. It's very important because even in drawing, if you can even know correct draw, because you sometimes, we sent a paper sometimes ago and they said our methodology was so complex that we should try and draw, make analysis, use diagram to show. So if you are very good, easier for you to make that, to just draw a sketch in different way that will be interesting. And that was one of the reasons they rejected the paper. And we put it, they were able to draw something. So, and then data analysis is also very important. The way you can use graphs, to explain things, put error bar, do this, do that, and some other forms. So it's very important to package your, sometimes it's about packaging. So if you have something little, but you can package it very well, it will be interesting to people. But if you have a very good result, but you cannot, sell it to them, they may not value it. So you have to, value it. You have to package it in a way that everybody want to embrace it. Can you brief us on the concept of book chapter and what makes it different from a short or mini review article? Yeah, book chapter will focus on, like, one of the topic, the one they gave me to write on mechanical properties of light emitting diode, organic light emitting diode. So they've seen my work in light emitting devices, and they sent to me that if I could do, and I accepted. Then through my experience, I was able to put things together. I wrote an outline, and then I was able to. So you're saying what makes it different from short or mini review? Yeah, it's close to that, but it's not. There's little difference between, review, and then the structure is what will make the difference. When you're writing a textbook, it will be a bit different from when you're writing. Your focus is just to write a review of article of previous work. But they are similar because that one too, you'll be bringing a lot of previous work that people have done, results, you are bringing them together. So I get what you are saying there. The last one here says research ethics can you shed more light on the key ethics we must be aware aside plagiarism? I think Dr. Sabiu had done a presentation on ethics, right? Zainab, can you hear me?
Yeah, Dr. Abdugafar Ushoji.
Oh, Abdugafar, okay, from LASU, right?
Yes. Yes, it did.
Yeah, I think there are different things like non-disclosure, depending on the kind of information you get,
yeah, and
what you're working on.
The discussion on the research ethics is in our YouTube page. So in case anyone is interested, they can go and watch it just to have an understanding on what ethics is in research writing.
Okay. So any other question?
I think someone is raising their hand. There's Galaxy A22. I don't know if the person still has a question. You can
Someone was
ask.
saying that, what did I say about statistical software and academic writings? I was just saying that the more you know most of these tools, the better. You look at, if you are good in data analysis, people are even going to artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I think his network is Dr. Sharafadin's network is bad again. Okay, for the person asking about statistical software and academic writing, it was just talking about how important it is to know different statistical software in order to analyze your work instead of giving it out for someone to do for you. And I think when you analyze your work yourself using different softwares, it's easy for you to explain it when you are discussing it instead of giving it out to someone to analyze for you. And the more statistical software you know, the more skills you have, which can also help you in your career as either a researcher or a lecturer, whatever case it might be. Minimum allowable plagiarism allowed by journal outlets. I don't know, is there anyone that can, okay, Dr. Shafadin is back.
So I'm so sorry for all this. It's raining here in my
It's fine.
area. And,
I
the
tried
network is
to complete your answer for Kabir Otum. I don't know if
Thank
what I
you.
said actually makes sense, but I don't know if
It
it's
should.
so you can
It
also.
should. Yeah, I was saying that the more you know about those tools, the better you'll be in your while you are in your academic writing. If you can use statistical tools very well, you'll be able to analyze your data very well.
Okay. Galaxy A22, I don't know if you're still online and you still want to ask your question before we move on to the next person. Okay, there's another question in the chat box. I don't think the person is available now, but there's person said, what's the minimum allowable plagiarism allowed by journal outlets, minimum and maximum? Dr. Shafadin. Larry, what do you want to answer that question for us?
Yeah, I have a question, but let me just answer. It depends on the institution, and depends on if it's I think master's or PhD. Even journal article, I think it's between 15 to 20%. But anything above 20%, if you try and reduce it, so anything below 20%.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm okay. But undergraduate, I don't think it depends on the school. I don't think undergraduate are restricted to that, but it depends on the school. If it's Nigerian school, I don't really think most schools consider that. But it's also good to try and, but if it's something like all these SOP and other writing or SC, all these one-page SCs and cool, I think it's best you put it at below 10%. You can always get down below 10%.
And even for undergraduate, if you have the intention to publish your work, it's also good to make sure that the plagiarism is between that 15 and 20%, most especially if you have planned to publish from your work. Dr. Shafatin.
Yes, please.
Okay. We're answering the question on allowable plagiarism, and Larry said between 15 to 20% for some journal article, and also it depends on the journal article and also the institution. Institutions
Exactly.
have like the percentage they require from you. So we answered that since you were not there. And I think Larry has another question, right? Larry, do you have a question? Okay, I don't know. Is there any other question before we end today's session? It's already past 1 hour. Any question? Okay. I think there is no question. I know that is Afadin Adeniji. And also to all the participants, thank you very much for joining. And inshallah, next month, the last Sunday of next month, we'll be having another discussion where we'll be talking on another topic that is very useful and important as a young researcher or young academic or students who are interested in starting their career in academic. And like I said before, in case you want to listen to this recording and previous recordings where we've talked on various topics, you can check the link on the chat box for our YouTube channel and you can watch. And on that note, I would say thank you very much to everybody, and we'll come to the end of today's discussion. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, right.